Hey everyone, I'm Jason Odell with Luminescent Photo, and today I just received the newest Nikon telephoto zoom, the 180 to 600, 5.6 to 6.3. Here it is. Just got it. So let's take a quick look at this lens. Very nice. Been on back order or pre-order for quite some time. I'm sure Nikon people are very excited to get this lens. 180 to 600 zoom range is going to be ideal for most wildlife and casual sports. Obviously not the fastest lens, but then again, for under $1,700, a very good lens. So let's take a look at this, starting by taking the lens cap off. It's a 95 millimeter front filter thread. Okay, so yes, you could put a filter on this, but I think most people aren't going to want to do that in 95 millimeters. It's got an all internal zoom design. What does that mean? When you turn this zoom ring, all of the zoom happens inside this lens, so there's no extension. Now, compared to something like the older 200 to 500 5.6, which I used to own, that's a tremendous advantage because the balance isn't going to change if you're using this on, say, like a Wimberley gimbal head or something like that. It's just less cumbersome. And the zoom ring rotation itself, if I show you this, the full rotation, it's like 60 degrees or barely 90 degrees of turn. So you can zoom while you're shooting this very easily, and I love this smooth action. This is very, very nice. There's a lens function button towards the front end of the barrel. It does not have a second function button. Now this function button is programmable on your Z body. So if you've got like a Nikon Z8 or Z9, you can program this button to work for things like focus recall or AF activation, whatever you want. Okay, there's no other switches on this lens. I haven't even taken off the protective tape other than the focus limiter, which gives you full range or infinity to 6 meters, and the AM switch here, which changes you from autofocus to manual focus. VR is set from your camera body, so you want to do that. I have it in the I menu, so you can set the VR on, off, or sport mode. There's no VR switch on this lens at all, but it does have optical image stabilization, which is a great feature on these super telephoto lenses. Now we've got a tripod collar here. It rotates. It's got a locking knob that you might expect to see. It's a removable collar design, so not quite as fancy as some of the lenses that have the integrated collar with just the removable foot. So if you're going to want to replace this with a, say, Arca Swiss type foot, you're either going to want to use a plate, so something like this guy right here, attach it to the bottom of the lens foot, or you'll need to wait for someone like Really Right Stuff Kirk to come out with a replacement collar assembly so you can take this collar completely off and replace it with one that has the Arca Swiss foot. So in the meantime, I obviously don't have one of those. I'll be testing this lens just with my plate here. Now it also comes with this lens hood. So it's a classic bayonet lens hood, clicks into place with a release. It's got a release latch on there. Gets pretty beefy. But all in all, it's not it's certainly not the heaviest lens I've ever used. It's about a 4.3 pound lens, I want to say. Not lightweight. If you're going to be shooting this for prolonged periods, you're going to want a monopod possibly. Ideal for that, but not impossible to handheld. If you've walked around with, say, the old 200 to 500, that one weighs almost a full pound more than this lens. Now let's compare this with the lens I've been using for most wildlife, which is the 100 to 400. So you might ask yourself, why would I want to get the 100 to 200, which is over $2,600 new, versus this 180 to 600? Well, I think the answer comes down to size, weight, and your subjects. Okay, the 100 to 400 has an external zoom design, but it's about a pound lighter than that 180 to 600, meaning you can pretty much handhold this all day. If you combine this with a teleconverter, say the TC 1.4, which is the 1.4 teleconverter, you're going to be shooting at f8. This is a 5.6, and you'll get the equivalent of 560 millimeters, I want to say. So you can do a lot with this, but you need a teleconverter. If you're shooting large wildlife, mammals, deer, elk, that kind of stuff, African wildlife, this might be your better bet, albeit at a higher price. And certainly for most sports, 400 is going to be long enough. On the other hand, if you're shooting small birds, smaller wildlife, or from greater distances, this 180 to 600 is really going to be tough to beat, at least if you're a Nikon shooter. The comparable lens out there right now is something like the Sony has a 200 to 600, also very good lens. It's about the same size, similar design. So I expect to get good results with this lens. You can put a teleconverter on it. It's just going to slow you down a little bit. So with this, again, Nikon 180 to 600 f5.6 to 6.3, an excellent wildlife birding lens choice, especially given its price point. It's very tough to beat that compared to some of the other primes that Nikon has right now. So again, just be prepared that if you're not used to hand holding, an over 4-pound lens plus the weight of your body, that Z9 is going to add 3 pounds to this kit. You're looking at almost 8 pounds in your hand, 7.5 pounds, give or take, by the time you're all said and done. That can get tiring to carry on a long time. But otherwise, really cool. I'm going to test this lens out in a couple of weeks. I'm going to Rocky Mountain National Park. I should be able to test this on a Z9, and I'll have sample images hopefully on my website, luminescentphoto.com. But until then, hit that subscribe button, send me your comments, and I can't wait to start testing this lens from Nikon. Until next time, I'll see you.